Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
No.
Today, we're going to be digging into kind of a lesser-known part of World War II history.
Okay.
A story of real perseverance and some unlikely heroes.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, and what's interesting is you've given me a really interesting collection of sources for this.
Hurry up.
We've got Wikipedia entries on the 688th Central Postal Directory Battalion and Charity Adams Early.
Gotcha.
We've also got their official website, it looks like.
Okay.
And even some stuff about this Tyler Perry movie, the 6888.
Oh, wow. Bringing it right up to date.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a really, really fascinating deep dive.
I think so. I think this is a story that, kind of gets overshadowed by...
Shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. The traditional narratives of war. But it's a really compelling look into some of the logistical challenges.
Absolutely.
And the societal dynamics at the time.
Yeah, for sure. So the 688th, also known as the 6888, was the only all-black, all-female battalion sent overseas during World War II.
Right.
And their task was to tackle this just monumental problem.
Oh, yeah.
Mountains and mountains.
Literally mountain.
Of backlogged mail.
Wow.
And we're not talking like,
a couple letters got mixed up.
Post office messed up and,
right.
My Christmas cards are late.
Yeah.
This is 17 million pieces of undelivered mail piled up in warehouses across Europe.
That's a lot of mail.
That's a lot of mail.
Yeah.
You have to understand the context here to appreciate what the 688 was really facing.
For sure.
For these soldiers far from home, facing, daily danger and the threat of death letters were a lifeline.
Yeah.
The sources all highlight this direct link between mail delivery and troop morale.
Makes sense.
To the point where the battalion's motto was, no mail, low morale.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but it really highlights the importance of what they were doing.
For sure.
And then you layer on top of that that many of these letters were only addressed with common names or nicknames.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the sources talk about how this lack of standardized addresses created just an unbelievably huge logistical challenge.
Right.
Try to imagine locating John Smith among millions of soldiers.
Right.
Without the help of zip codes or even street addresses.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just...
Talk about a needle in a haystack.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It really is. So, the 688th had to come up with some really innovative solutions.
I bet.
They created this vast card catalog system to track down soldiers.
Wow.
Which in a pre-computer era is just...
It's incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the level of organization and determination that these women had.
They were really dedicated.
Yeah. So the scale of this is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
These women worked around the clock in 3 shifts, 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And they weren't doing this in, some...
nice climate-controlled office.
Cushy office with a nice view.
Right.
No, they were often working in cold, dimly lit, and even rat-infested airplane hangars.
Ugh. That's rough.
I mean, really difficult conditions.
Yeah.
To put it mildly.
Definitely.
But despite these obstacles, they persevered.
That's amazing.
They really did.
But for them.
The 688th completed this Herculean task in just 3 months.
Wow.
Shattering the initial 6-month estimate.
That's impressive.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
Now, leading this incredible unit was Major Charity Adams Early.
Okay.
And she is just an absolute remarkable figure.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was she a brilliant strategist, but she constantly challenged the racial and gender barriers that she faced.
I bet.
There's this really powerful anecdote in the sources.
Oh, really?
When a white general tried to tell her how to run her unit.
Uh-oh.
She famously retorted, "Over my dead body, sir."
Oh, my gosh.
Talk about standing your ground.
No kidding.
Really incredible.
Yeah.
Major Adams Early's leadership was crucial.
I can imagine.
She instilled in her battalion a sense of pride and determination and really empowered them to overcome the prejudices that they encountered even within the Army itself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the sources reveal this really stark contrast between the 688th experiences in Europe and back in the U.S.
Interesting.
For example, one veteran recalled being offered a seat on a bus in England.
Wow.
Something that would have been absolutely unthinkable in the segregated U.S. at that time.
That's really telling.
It really is. It's really interesting. It makes you think about, it's kind of wild to think about, like their experiences overseas, almost reflecting back on the societal struggles back home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, their service during the war, it was focused on the mail, obviously.
Right.
But it really got intertwined with this bigger fight for civil rights and equality, you know? It's
Yeah.
like they were serving their country, but at the same time challenging the very system that was, putting them in that position in the first place.
It's almost like they were fighting a war on two fronts.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's interesting, though, because as compelling as their story is, it was largely overlooked for decades.
It is.
Like the 688th didn't really receive the widespread recognition they deserved until pretty recently.
It's true.
Why do you think stories like this, especially those highlighting the contributions of marginalized communities, why do you think they often remain hidden for so long?
Well, I think there are a lot of factors at play.
Yeah.
History often prioritizes the narratives of those in power.
Right.
So the voices and contributions of marginalized groups can get kind of silenced.
Lost in the shuffle again.
Exactly. And it's like you're trying to put together a puzzle,
Yeah.
but some of the pieces are missing.
You get a skewed perspective.
Right. You get a skewed perspective of history, and that can perpetuate existing inequalities.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really crucial to actively seek out diverse perspectives and challenge the dominant narratives that we're often presented with.
like being a critical thinker
Exactly.
about history.
Yeah.
Be a little skeptical.
Be skeptical and be curious.
Yeah.
And go deeper.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not even intentional suppression.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a lack of access.
Exactly.
Like records could be lost.
Yeah.
Or communities might not have the resources
Right.
to, preserve and share their own history.
It's like a whole chapter is missing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a book.
Whole chapter missing from the history book.
Yeah.
But luckily for the 6,888th in recent years, the tide has turned.
It has.
They've received a number of well-deserved honors.
Yeah.
There's a monument.
That's awesome.
They received the Congressional Gold Medal,
Wow.
which is a very high honor.
Yeah.
And even a U.S. Army base was renamed in their honor.
Really?
Fort Gregg Adams,
I did not know that.
named after Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams Early
Oh, wow.
and Lieutenant General Arthur Gregg.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Good for them.
And, these acknowledgments are a step in the right direction towards rectifying these past oversights. Their story is also reaching a wider audience, thanks to the 2024 film, The 688.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that Tyler Perry film.
Yeah, directed by Tyler Perry, starring Kerry Washington.
Yeah.
And, while the film received kind of mixed reviews in terms of accuracy and execution,
Yeah.
it undeniably brought some much-needed attention to this incredible story.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It also kind of sparked an important conversation about the role of creative interpretation in these historical films.
For sure.
Because while accuracy is crucial, sometimes a little bit of creative license
Right.
can make these stories more accessible to a broader audience.
For sure.
You mentioned earlier that the sources had some information about the movie.
Yeah.
What specifically stood out to you?
Well, there was this one really poignant detail, I thought.
Okay.
Tyler Perry actually showed a rough cut of the film
Oh, wow.
to Lena Derricott King, who was one of the last surviving 600 and 888th veterans before she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought that was incredibly powerful.
Wow.
It speaks volumes about the importance of not just telling these stories, but
true.
telling them while the people who live them can still hear them.
It's like giving them their flowers
Exactly.
while they can still smell them.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is, and it makes their sacrifices feel even more tangible
Absolutely.
and emphasizes the importance of preserving these personal accounts before they're lost to time.
Before they're gone forever.
Yeah, it really highlights the human element behind the history.
Yes.
Reminding us that these aren't just stories in a textbook. They are lived experiences that deserve to be recognized and honored.
For sure. And it's really what we try to do here on the Deep Dive.
Exactly.
Unearth these hidden gems.
Yeah.
These stories that deserve to be told and retold.
Right.
And ensure that these voices are heard and their contributions are remembered.
Absolutely.
But remembering is just the first step.
Right.
What can we as individuals do
Yeah.
to ensure that stories like the 688th aren't just remembered, but honored and learned from?
Yeah.
What concrete steps can we take to amplify these voices
Right.
and fight against historical erasure?
Well, one of the most impactful things we can do is just to be active listeners and learners.
Yeah.
Seek out diverse perspectives.
Right.
Read books by authors from marginalized communities.
Yeah.
Engage with their stories.
Right.
And really broaden your understanding of history beyond those dominant narratives.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Embrace the richness and complexity of the
Yes.
human experience.
It's about understanding that history is not a single story.
Right.
It's a tapestry.
Yeah.
Woven from countless individual threads.
Beautiful.
Each with its own story to tell.
And we can also support organizations that are dedicated to preserving and promoting these untold stories.
Absolutely. Museums, historical societies, community groups, they're all doing valuable work to document and share these narratives.
Sure.
And donations, volunteering, even just spreading awareness can make a difference.
It's putting action behind our words.
Exactly.
Making sure these organizations have the resources they need to continue this really important work.
And we can use our own platforms, however big or small, to amplify these voices.
Right.
Sharing articles, books, documentaries, recommending them to friends and family.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. These seemingly small actions can have a ripple effect.
I love that.
Yeah, starting a conversation can spark curiosity and inspire others to learn more.
Absolutely.
We each have a sphere of influence.
For sure.
And it's up to us to use it. To shed light on these hidden stories. And challenge those dominant narratives.
It's recognizing that we all have a role to play.
Exactly.
In shaping a more inclusive and accurate understanding of history. But it's not just about remembering the past.
Right.
It's about learning from it.
Absolutely.
So what lessons can we as individuals glean from the 688th experience?
Yeah, what resonates with you and what can our listeners take away from this story?
Well, the 688th really embodies the power of perseverance. I mean, despite facing immense obstacles, societal prejudices, logistical nightmares, the constant pressure of war, they never gave up.
They never gave up.
They leveraged their ingenuity, their determination, and their collective spirit to achieve their goals.
They proved that no obstacle is truly insurmountable. When you have the will to succeed and the support of a strong community.
Absolutely.
Their story is a testament to the strength that can be found in unity, in collaboration, and in the unwavering belief in a shared goal.
What else stands out to you?
I think their story also underscores the value of unsung heroes.
Oh, for sure.
You know, those working diligently behind the scenes without seeking recognition or accolades.
Often make the most profound impact.
It's true.
Their dedication can be the driving force behind large-scale successes.
For sure.
Even if their individual contributions may seem small in the grand scheme of things.
It's a reminder to look beyond the obvious. To appreciate the quiet efforts of those who may not be in the spotlight, but are nonetheless instrumental in making things happen.
It's about recognizing the importance of every contribution. No matter how seemingly insignificant.
And the 888th also serves as a powerful reminder that the fight for equality is ongoing. You know, their story is a testament to the progress that has been made, but it also highlights the work that still needs to be done.
It's not over.
It's not over. Their struggle against discrimination serves as a call to action, urging us to continue advocating for a more just and equitable world.
It's a reminder that change takes time, effort, and constant vigilance. It's a call to challenge biases, push boundaries, and advocate for fairness for all, just as the 688th did in their own time.
And it's a reminder that progress isn't always a straight line. There will be setbacks, there will be resistance. But the pursuit of a more just and equitable world is a fight worth having.
Absolutely. It's about carrying the torch forward. Building upon the legacy of those who came before us. And continuing to strive for a better future.
Absolutely.
And their story reminds us that even in the midst of chaos and conflict, acts of service and connection can make all the difference. You know, it's amazing to think that something like their dedication to mail delivery had such a big impact on the war effort. It really makes you think about how everything is connected.
It does.
And how these small acts can ripple out in ways that we can't even imagine.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we often focus on like the big battles and the strategies.
The big picture stuff.
Exactly. But it's those collective efforts of all the individuals, often in those kind of like everyday roles.
Behind the scenes people.
Exactly. That really shapes how things actually turn out.
And you know, the 688th story really challenges how we usually think about heroism. We usually picture like soldiers on the front lines.
Charging into battle.
As like the epitome of courage. But the 688th, they showed us a different kind of heroism.
Absolutely.
They faced their own battles, against prejudice, logistical nightmares, that constant pressure to prove themselves. And they did it with grace and determination and this unwavering support for each other.
Yeah, I mean, their courage was in their resilience. Yeah. In their commitment to the mission. Yeah. And in their refusal to let those societal barriers define them.
They redefined what it meant to be a hero.
For sure.
You know, showing that real strength comes from perseverance, unity, and that pursuit of a just cause.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's a good lesson for us all.
It is.
You know, heroism isn't always these big, grand gestures or these battlefield victories.
It's about showing up every day and facing those challenges head on.
Doing the work.
Exactly. Yeah. And striving to make a positive impact no matter what obstacles you face.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. How can we embrace that spirit of the 6,888th in our own life?
How can we find and celebrate the unsung heroes in our own communities?
Right, those people who are working tirelessly behind the scenes.
Right, the people who don't want the recognition.
Exactly, but they're making a real difference.
I think it starts with just paying attention.
Yeah.
Looking beyond what's right in front of you. And recognizing the contributions of those people who aren't seeking the spotlight.
Right, recognizing that we're all connected and that even small acts of service and kindness and courage can have a huge impact on the world around us.
It's about understanding that we can all be heroes in our own way. Yeah. You know, whether it's volunteering in our communities, speaking out against injustice, or simply being kind to those around us.
Absolutely.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into this truly remarkable story of the 6,888th. We want to thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you've gained a new appreciation for these unsung heroes.
Me too.
And maybe even found a little inspiration to take with you out into the world.
Remember, the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey. Learning. Keep asking questions.
Keep diving deep.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating deep dive.
But until then, keep those brains buzzing.
And those hearts open.
We'll see you next time.